You just want me to give you all the information right off the top. Are you looking for her? She's right here. Mind reader. One of my many talents. It's from too many birthdays.
Never too many.
Maybe it's not on. I don't know.
This is frozen. Yeah, this is frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, let me start it.
It's the cold weather. It's frozen.
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you. If you're just coming in, there's a sign-up sheet over here on the far table. Hopefully there's an information packet left. If not, I can print more out. Not right now, but in the future. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Glad to see you all here. We all survived what could have been a snow apocalypse, but it was very cold, but also very dry, so that's a good thing. Today we're going to explore some really exciting research in the world of healthy aging, something scientists are calling the new science of longevity. And I know that sounds like a big phrase, but at its core, longevity science simply is helping our cells to stay energized and resilient as we age. We're learning that two key players in that process are something called NAD, NAD+, and the amazing world of mushrooms and microbes. So today we'll look at this tiny molecule, NAD+, which lives in every cell in your body, fuels your energy, repairs DNA, keeps your brain sharp, and then we'll dive into what's happening in your gut. How friendly microbes and certain mushrooms can strengthen your immune system and even support brain health. Don't worry, you won't need a science degree to understand this. My goal is to make this simple, interesting, and practical. We'll connect the dots between the latest research, everyday habits, and things like movement, sleep, nutrition, all the things that we've already talked about, and they always come back, don't they? They're all so interconnected. By the end of our time together, I hope you'll feel both informed and empowered, maybe even amazed about what the body is capable of at any age. We'll look first at longevity science and then delve into the other topics. So what is longevity science? It's really the study of how we can be healthier, stronger, and more independent as we age. It's not just about adding years to our lives. We talked about this in a previous. It's about health span, the number of years that you're healthy and you actually enjoy your life. Researchers call that health span, the time we spend feeling well, active, and engaged. Longevity science explores how our cells age and what we can do to support them through daily habits like exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management, and maintaining a healthy gut. It's about finding ways to help our bodies repair and renew themselves naturally and more efficiently. One of the organizations leading this kind of research is the Burke Institute in Cincinnati, Ohio. They're doing fascinating work on how cellular health, brain function, and metabolism influence the way we age and how we might slow that process down. I actually had the opportunity to meet several of their researchers at the ICAA conference I attended last year. They were so passionate and inspiring, truly dedicated to helping older adults not only live longer, but live better. So when we talk about longevity science today, think of it as the bridge between cutting-edge research and healthy habits we practice right here at the ARC every day. Right? Right? All right. So an interesting thing that comes up, and we were talking about this just a minute ago, is genetics versus environmental factors. The research is remarkably consistent on this point. Genes matter, but environmental and lifestyle matters more. Think about genetics as the bullet, and then environment is what fires the gun. Large studies show that 20 to 30% of lifespan is genetic, the other 70 to 80% is environmental. That should be very empowering to you, as that the environmental things you have control over. Our genes are just given to us when we're born. So the genes load the gun, the environmental factors pull the trigger. So what is NAD+? It's a very long word. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So we'll just go with NAD. It exists in two forms in the body: an oxidized form, which is the plus, because it has a charge, and the reduced form, which is NADH. These two forms constantly cycle between one another, transferring electrons during cellular respiration inside the mitochondria. Everybody knows mitochondria from biology class? Inside of every cell, it is the powerhouse of the cell. It's responsible for ATP production. In simple terms, NAD+ helps convert food into usable energy, while also supporting DNA repair, gene expression, and the activity of longevity related to enzymes such as sirtuins. We'll get into that a little bit more. During its role in metabolism, NAD+ participates in reduction reactions leading to the formation of ATP. That is your cellular currency inside the body. Aside from this key role, NAD+ also is a critical regulator of a wide array, I think it's up to 400 enzymatic reactions involved in post-translation modification of proteins to do their correct activities. NAD+ is a coenzyme central to metabolism found in every living cell. You'll hear me refer to NAD as the body's spark plug, because that's really what it is. Within our cells, they cannot function properly without it. It's responsible for muscle contractions, brain function, heart health, and we need a consistent supply of it to generate energy. The exciting part is that scientists, including some of those at the Burke Institute that I was able to meet and talk to, are finding ways to help the body rebuild its NAD+ levels. And this is where it gets pretty interesting. So let's take a closer look at NAD, what it does, why it declines over time, and how we can naturally support it through lifestyle and nutrition. So we discussed that it's inside every cell, and it's the spark plug, so your cellular currency for energy. It's required for over 400 enzymatic reactions. But our body can make NAD in several ways: through dietary precursors that feed into this NAD pathway. Some of those precursors are tryptophan, probably heard of that one. It's in turkey, eggs, seeds. Niacin, which is also vitamin B3, found in sardines, tuna, I got to plug the sardines, and mushrooms. Nicotinamide riboside, which is a precursor, NR, it's a newer form of B3 discovered in milk, shown to safely rise NAD levels in humans, according to Trammell et al. 2016. You also have nicotinamide mononucleotide, or NMN, and it's a direct precursor as well. It's found in small amounts in broccoli, edamame, avocado, and it's shown to improve energy metabolism and physical performance. So both NR and NMN are considered next generation B3 vitamins, and those things together help create NAD. So NAD plus activates sirturins. I mentioned that word before. Those are also enzymes that help protect against oxidative stress and inflammation. Maintaining NAD supports your mitochondrial efficiency and energy production. Low NAD, you're going to feel sluggish, have higher inflammation, and slower cellular repair over time. Restoring NAD has extended health span and improved physical performance in animal studies and in human studies. When we support NAD, we give the body what it needs to repair itself and keep energy levels up. That's why this area of research is so exciting, particularly for healthy aging. Did I switch? Okay. All right, thank you. So as we age, our NAD levels naturally decline. Likewise, our mitochondria decline in amount and function too, so it's kind of a double whammy. When you're young, your cells make plenty of NAD to keep up with energy production, DNA repair, and brain activity, but research shows that by middle age, I guess that's 50, our NAD levels can drop as much as 50% or more compared to when we're in our 20s. So why does this happen? It's not just one reason, it's a combination of factors. Our enzymes that recycle NAD become less efficient, and at the same time, other enzymes that consume NAD uptick. So we're trying to fight more inflammation. We're trying to do more cellular repair. So it's less produced, more used up. So we're using more of it. The demand goes up, but the supply goes down. Lifestyle stressors make this worse. Poor sleep, chronic stress, alcohol, certain medications, and long-term inflammation all drain NAD faster than the body can make it. This decline has real consequences. Lower NAD means slower mitochondrial function. Our cells can't produce enough energy, so a 20-year-old on a track can, in a matter of moments, fire up and run a 50-yard dash. Someone that's in their 60s or 70s, they just don't have the capacity to do that. And these are the reasons why. It's that reduction in NAD, it's the reduction in ATP. The exciting part is that scientists are discovering the ways to restore NAD levels through both lifestyle and nutrition. So while we can't stop the clock, supporting NAD is one of the most promising ways we've found to slow the cellular effects of aging and help us feel more energetic and resilient over time. Sounds good, right? So let me see right here. When we move our bodies, especially during strength training, walking, swimming, our cells are gently stressed. That stress triggers a production of enzymes called sirturins. And AMPK, that's another enzyme, both of which help the body make and recycle NAD more efficiently. Even moderate daily exercise has been shown to raise NAD levels and improve mitochondrial function. Next is nutrition. Foods rich in vitamin B3, tryptophan, polyphenols, all help supply raw materials your body uses to make NAD+. That means through diet and nutrition, we can supplement the level that we have and we can increase it. Managing stress is another key. Chronic stress and inflammation overactivate enzymes that use up NAD. So simple stress management tools, breathing, exercise, spending time in nature, or even group activities here at the ARC can lower inflammation and in turn protect your NAD. Finally, while still being studied, the nutritional precursors I mentioned, NMN, NR, vitamin B3 have all shown in both animal and human studies to safely raise NAD levels. So the message is empowering. You can help your body make more NAD through daily movement, healthy food, good sleep, and stress management. All things we already practice here at the ARC. Notice how I keep plugging that in? So let's talk about supplementation. Obviously, the first way you want to do things is always the natural way, right? Through your movement, through stress management. But there are ways that you can supplement these things as well, and we'll talk about the plus and minuses of those. Some clinicians and scientists are trying to raise NAD levels through supplementation and therapy. That's going to be IV infusions, injections, and oral supplements. Let's start with the IV infusions and injections. They become popular in anti-aging clinics and wellness clinics across the world. Is anybody familiar with this at all? Heard this? Yes, I got a few nods. These methods deliver NAD directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system. The goal is to quickly raise NAD availability in tissues and mitochondria, especially in people that are coming off of an illness, chronic fatigue, or metabolic decline. Some small human studies suggest that NAD infusions can temporarily raise NAD in the bloodstream and may help improve energy metabolism and cognitive clarity. However, the research is still very limited. Results may vary from person to person. Dr. Andrew Huberman is a neuroscientist and professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford University. He has a podcast called the Huberman Lab Podcast. I listen to him a lot. He has actually done these IV infusions and says they're not very comfortable. People tend to get very nauseated. They offer an anti-nausea medication along with the IV infusion, and they're also very expensive. So just things to bear in mind. And again, the science is limited as to how effective that actually is. And then we can look at oral NAD, why pills don't work. Anyone in here on an oral NAD supplement that wants to share that? We got one hand raised. So why NAD pills don't work and why MNN, your precursor, and NR do. So you'll see a lot of supplements out there labeled NAD+, capsules, tablets. It's all over the internet. If you haven't seen it, I'm surprised. It sounds convenient, right? Just swallow the NAD molecule and boost your energy. But here's the scientific truth. Oral NAD supplements don't actually raise NAD+ inside your cells. The molecule is too large to be absorbed intact. NAD is a big complex molecule. When you swallow it, your digestive enzymes immediately break it apart into smaller pieces. Guess what those are? Your precursors, NAD and MNN. I'm sorry, NR and NMN. So you take that, your body still has to break it down. It makes more sense to take the two things that it's breaking it down into. Those two complexes come together and can get into the cell, and inside the cell is where the NAD is actually produced. Even if it reaches the bloodstream, NAD cannot cross the cell membranes. The NAD molecule is charged, which means it can't pass through the cell membrane on its own. So cells cannot pull NAD directly from the blood. It must be built inside the cell. So how do NMN and NR work? We'll look at NMN. It's really hard to say that. Those letters don't want to go together. Nicotinamide mononucleotide. It's just one step away from NAD. It's absorbed by special transporters, particularly in the small intestine, and it converts quickly to NAD inside the cell. Human studies show improvement in muscle metabolism, insulin sensitivity, and a raise in NAD levels. NR, this is your other precursor. It's the smallest and most bioavailable precursor. It passes easily into the cells. Cells convert NR to NMN to NAD. So there's 3 steps there. It raises NAD levels in humans by 40 to 60% in 2 to 3 week studies. That's Trammell et al. 2016. Early reports suggest that you can improve in arterial health. That's good. That's your arteries. Brain function and cellular energy. In short, oral NAD does not work. It gets destroyed by the gut and cannot enter the cells. MNN and NR do work. They're absorbed efficiently and converted directly into NAD inside the cell where it matters. That's why most of the research today focuses on the precursors, not the NAD pills themselves. Got to switch pages here. We're going to move on from the NAD to mushrooms and gut health, and we'll link those things together here in just a moment. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. So something else that's truly fascinating is the gut microbiome. Is that a term that anyone's heard in here? Yeah, the gut is also referred to as the second brain. We're finding out there's a lot of communication from the gut. A lot of your neurotransmitters are made in the gut, and gut health has been proven to be very, very important. It's trillions of bacteria, fungi, and microbes live in your digestive tract. They don't just help with digestion, they communicate directly with your immune system, your brain, and they even influence mood and inflammation. When your gut microbiome is balanced with lots of beneficial bacteria, it supports a stronger immune response, more efficient metabolism, and a calmer nervous system. When the balance is disrupted, whether that be by stress, antibiotics, poor diet, it leads to inflammation, fatigue, brain fog, and accelerated aging. And now here's where the mushrooms come in. This is the part scientists are really excited about. Mushrooms contain special plant compounds, especially beta-glucans, polysaccharides, and phenolinic antioxidants. These all act like prebiotics. Prebiotics are the food that your gut bacteria love. So you've probably all heard of probiotics. So probiotics replenish the bacteria themselves. Prebiotics are what feed the existing bacteria. When you eat mushrooms, these fibers pass through your stomach undigested. They reach your large intestine, where they feed the beneficial bacteria. In response, those bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and propionate, which reduce inflammation, strengthen your gut lining, and even communicate with your brain. Some specific mushrooms, reishi, turkey tail, chaga, have an even deeper effect. So there's the mushrooms you see at HEB, and there's mushrooms that you don't see at HEB, and we'll talk about the difference. But they help your immune system to train smarter. There's an interesting connection here, too, between aging. So both the gut microbiome and NAD levels decline as we age. But supporting one helps support the other. Healthy gut microbes produce the molecules that support mitochondrial energy. So you can think of mushrooms as the microbiome trainers, feeding, supporting, and protecting all the teeny allies in your gut that keep your immune system and digestive system in sync with your brain. So this gut-brain connection is one of the big frontiers in longevity research. These are the mushrooms that we're going to look at specifically for their medicinal purposes. You have reishi mushrooms. They support immune balance and stress resilience. Lion's mane, if you've ever seen a lion's mane, a full mushroom, the flowering top, it looks like a brain. It's got little weaves and folds, and that's what it does, is it stimulates nerve growth. It supports memory. Cordyceps boost energy, oxygen use, and endurance. Chaga is a powerful antioxidant, and it protects against cellular damage. Wrong way. We'll get to that. Each type has unique benefits. Research is showing that these mushrooms have measurable effects on the body. That's why researchers are studying lion's mane for memory and cognition. Together, these mushrooms form natural longevity toolkit that work hand in hand with your body's energy systems. Here's the slide on the probiotic versus prebiotic. So probiotics are living microorganisms, right? They replenish the microbes that are in the gut. Prebiotics are the food for those microorganisms. Probiotics have a poor shelf life. Prebiotics have a good shelf life. Usually a good probiotic supplement is kept refrigerated. How mushrooms and microbes support NAD. So if you look on the far right side, so we have these extracts coming in and they help to improve the microbiome, mitigate environmental factors, and reduce those things that then draw down the amount of NAD we have available. So while probiotics are important, feeding your own gut bacteria with natural prebiotics from food like mushrooms may be even more powerful in the long run. I lost my slide. Where do we get these things? That was the question, right? They sell mushrooms in different forms. You can buy tinctures, which is a liquid. You can buy them in a powder form, in a supplement. And we'll look into which one of these is the best way. Very similar to other supplements. Some ways are effective, some ways are not effective. Sorry, I lost my page here. Things to avoid when buying a mushroom supplement. Mycelium. Most of the mushrooms grown in the U.S. are grown from a mycelium, which is just a base, and never produces a flowering top. These mushroom manufacturers use one of two forms, and the first type is actually the mushroom cap, and the stem called the fruiting body, and the second is the mycelium. And you should generally avoid the mycelium. If you think about a flower, mycelium is the root system, and the fruiting bodies are the actual flowering top. In this case, the mushroom caps and stems. Manufacturers who use mycelium will grow these roots on top of a grain substrate, usually rice or oats. Once mycelium roots grow, the roots and the substrate become intertwined or impossible to separate. Formulas containing mycelium consist of about half roots and half filler. So you're paying a lot of money for a supplement that's half filler right from the get-go. So you really want to focus on the flowering tops. The manufacturers choose this because they can mass produce it. It only takes a few weeks to mature and it's less expensive. Compared to the fruiting bodies that are more expensive, the growing process takes anywhere from 2 months to several years. We prepare the fruiting bodies as they are prefer the fruiting bodies as they are the pure form of the mushroom with no fillers and no byproducts. So what you're actually looking for in a mushroom supplement is something that provides the fruiting bodies. Powders. Powders were dried and then ground into a fine powder. They are the cheapest way to produce the supplement, but it also provides the consumer with less benefit. The essential beta-glucans need to be extracted from the cell walls of the mushroom. The human body can't easily absorb this form, so the powdered form is not as useful and it's not as digestible. Relying on Amazon reviews, not a good plan. Research showed that in March 2019, there were 1.8 million new unverified reviews, with an average of 99.6 of them being 5-star reviews. Most of these reviews are from people paid to write them. That's a big surprise, right? These fake reviews inflate the number and overall star rating of a product. When deciding on a product, that can be impactful to your health, don't rely on Amazon reviews. Avoid any brand that does not have at a minimum a no-question 90-day money-back guarantee and one that divulges all of the ingredients. So you see things like proprietary blend, probably not a good choice. There's not a lot of regulation in the supplement industry. There is some, but finding a supplement company that has third-party, uninvolved reviews that offers that, that's pretty good too. When it comes to mushrooms, not all are created equal. Over the 10,000 different mushroom varieties, only a handful have substantial research supporting health benefits. Again, lion's mane being one of the most powerful for nerve growth, protect us against degenerative brain diseases. Chaga has been used for centuries throughout the world to help boost immunity. Maitake, Long held from Asia is the mushroom with vast healing properties. Shiitake, you might find this at your grocery store. Primarily grown in Japan. Primary source of B vitamins and antibiotic bacteria or antibacterial properties. Extracts are the number one way to ingest these medicinal mushrooms. Before purchasing any mushroom supplement, be sure to look at the facts on the label, which will indicate what type of mushroom and whether it's a flowering body or powdered form. Looking for mushrooms that produce extracts, not powders. Dosage. If you want to achieve optimal health results, it's important to select a supplement that has both the correct mushroom types and proper dosages. For lion's mane, they recommend at least 750 milligrams in extract form or 3,000 milligrams in powdered form. For the other mushrooms on our list, look for a formula that contains each of them individually and a dosage of at least 80 milligrams for each. And if you want to find these dosages, I have an actual printout at my desk. I didn't get it into the packet in time, so if you want that, I can make that available to you. And always choose for fruiting bodies, not the mycelium. Again, for lion's mane, the effective dose, 750 milligrams as an extract. Find my little mushroom there. Fruiting bodies contain 100% more glucons than mycelium. Mycelium is mostly grain and filler, so you don't want to waste your money. You don't need exotic treatments or expensive supplements to support NAD and health. We're going to go back to the lifestyle synergy of movement, nutrition, and sleep. Habits that you practice every day, how you move, how you eat, how you sleep, all work together as a team to help keep your cells energized and resilient. Movement, as we know, is one of the absolute best ways available to you every day. We can always make a decision to move more. Whether it's walking, light weightlifting, chair yoga, water aerobics, we activate those energy-sensitive pathways in the body when we move. The more you move, the better your cells are at making energy. Everything we eat also supports cellular stresses, cellular energy. Foods rich in vitamin B3, tryptophan, antioxidants, fiber, and polyphenols, as we mentioned, give the body the raw materials to build NAD. Healthy gut microbiome, so eating things that support our gut microbiome. Probiotics, prebiotics, more colorful vegetables, lean proteins, we get those amino acids that we need, healthy fats, and it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. If you came to my last presentation, we talked about that. It's not what you do one day, it's those small things that you repeat day after day after day that have the biggest impact overall. Sleep, we know that fragmented sleep, poor sleep, increases inflammation and raises cortisol. This disrupts our circadian rhythms and throws our NAD production into the dumpster. So these pillars all work together. Movement, nutrition, sleep, and diet. When you combine these habits, even into small, gentle steps, they reinforce each other. Simple habits. Move daily. Eat NAD supporting foods. Feed your gut microbiome. Prioritize beneficial sleep, restful sleep. Stay hydrated. Gently manage stress. And this supports your mitochondria with all these small choices. Morning sunlight, we talked about this in a previous presentation. When you get exposed to sunlight, not the kind that's going to burn you up, but your skin produces vitamin D. We're all a little deficient in vitamin D because we're covered up from head to toe all the time. You can take it as a supplement, but sunlight is always the better choice. Eating slowly, light movement, even walking after meals is shown to greatly reduce the glucose spike. 15-minute walk after a meal is a great tool. As we wrap up today, I just want to bring it full circle because the science we explored, and I hope I made it understandable, it isn't just interesting, it's empowering. And I think the takeaway message is all the things that you do daily and the decisions that you make have a big impact, even over your genetic makeup. We talked about NAD, we talked about microbes, we talked about movement, but what the research tells us is that longevity isn't one single magic pill or supplement. It's about synergy. It's about little things working together in the background every day. That walk after breakfast, a handful of colorful vegetables. These small choices help you to conserve the NAD you do have, reduce inflammation, and support your gut microbiome. The most important message I want you to take away is that the body is designed for resilience. It responds quickly to the care that you provide for it, and whether it's trying a new food or taking a new class, these steps will make a real measurable difference at any age. Thank you guys for being here. I hope I made it understandable. If there's questions, I want to open the floor to questions, and I'm going to give you the microphone. Karen, do you want to help? My helper.
Karen.
Yes.
Okay, when you're eating mushrooms, is it better not to cook the mushrooms, or does it make any difference which form you consume them in? Like, they have a good omelet at breakfast that has mushrooms in it, but it tastes really good because you know that it's been cooked in butter or something like that. And so, is it better just to chomp on them, or?
I don't know. Most people like the taste of mushrooms raw. It's definitely an acquired taste. I think with most things that we cook, if we cook it too much, we can cook the nutrients out of it. I would say it's probably similar with mushrooms. I don't know that to be a fact, but eating them versus not eating them is always better. If you find a palatable way to do that you enjoy, that's going to be the best way to do it.
Okay.
Eat it.
Rodney?
So for the different types of mushrooms, procuring them, HEB, nutrition stores, where? Where do you?
I go to the farmer's market a lot in New Braunfels. I know that the farmer's market at the Pearl too, and these vendors that show up there also have websites. I can research that and provide that to you if you like, but they have a booth set up. They have the mushrooms in its whole form. They have it in powdered form. They have it in these tinctures, right? I mentioned it's very concentrated in a little bottle. You just put a drop or two of it in your hot tea or in a beverage that you're going to consume. So there are vendors out there that sell these things, and I can get those names for you. I was going to try to get one of them to show up here, but
So
it was
it's,
unsuccessful.
I mean, when we were younger, I guess, I don't know, that was a long time ago. Anyway, when we were younger, we learned that there's a whole lot of different types of mushrooms, and a lot of them are not good for you.
Yes, I would not go out into a cow field
There you
and
go.
find a mushroom that's randomly growing and ingest that. But these companies that provide them, IQ bars, that's just for instance, they claim to have lion's mane in them. I actually like those bars. I eat them. They have 5 or 6 ingredients that you can actually read what it is. And lion's mane is one of the things that they have added to them. So, again, you're not going to find lion's mane at HEB, but in a farmer's market or someplace like that, you would. I'm sure if you Google search it, there are places in the San Antonio area that farm these mushrooms out from other places.
The market that the Ark here has some really good mushroom soups, but they don't make them very often. Do you have any idea if they have NAD in those mushrooms?
Well, remember, the mushrooms don't have NAD in them. It has things that help to boost your natural NAD internally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So mushrooms are good.
Mushrooms are good.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Anyone? Question, comment? Anyone on any kind of supplement that wants to talk about it? Have questions about maybe something that you purchased, wondering if it's beneficial or not beneficial?
As far as a couple of places you can go to look, there's a website called globalhealing.com. It is a nutrition and supplement company by Dr. Group. He has extracts that are available there, and he also has a powdered supplement that is made from several different of these mushrooms that you were talking about today. Very high quality, very stringent testing guidelines. Another one is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, and you go to the healthrangerstore.com. He also has a very, very high standards, and he is it's a food lab that he runs, and they test for all kinds of things to make sure it's really
Contaminants.
clean food.
Yeah.
And that's super important to him. And he has tinctures and a powder supplement. I personally am using his powdered multi-mushroom supplement. It's called Seven Treasures. And
Seven treasures. You guys writing this down?
I put it in my coffee or tea most of the time. And all of the mushrooms that you talked about today are in that complex.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great product.
Yeah, both of those I think are very trustworthy sources.
So how long, if you mind me asking, how long you've been taking or using that supplement?
Probably about a year now, all total. And I do feel like I can tell a difference in my cognitive abilities a bit, and some with energy. Mike Adams has an interesting story with lion's mane and regenerating nerves. So it definitely can help.
And that's on his website that you mentioned?
His story about that, probably he doesn't, they might have something underneath the lion's mane page for
Okay.
it. Because he does have a separate lion's mane extract as well. So those are just a couple of sources.
Can you say the name again one more time, please?
The healthrangerstore.com.
Healthrangerstore.com.
And the other one is globalhealing.com.
Globalhealing.com. Thank you for that. Anyone? Right over here, Karen? Gonna make her get her steps in today.
I already did it.
I had a question about putting the mushrooms, not cooking the mushrooms in maybe a sauce or whatever, but if you add them after the sauce is cooked and let the heat of the sauce just make them hot,
Yeah?
do you think that would be okay?
Again, I can't confirm or deny, but I would just say that most things, like a vegetable, when you cook it, you cook some of the nutrients out of it. So the less you heat them, certainly you don't want to put them in the microwave because that changes the whole structure of the food itself. That's a whole nother thing. But lightly heating them, lightly sauteing them, just not cooking them till they're a liquid completely. Yeah.
I would respectfully ask the lady to repeat those websites.
I'll get it from her. I'll write it down. No problem. Anyone dying to add? Yes.
Is it beneficial to have NAD added to IV infusions?
So I can just tell you what the research that I read says. I know there's a place right down the road from me. They offer these infusions. They're very expensive. It does raise, the research shows that it does raise the blood levels, but it doesn't raise inside the cell, which is where it's the most useful because NAD can't get inside the cell. It has to be produced inside the cell. And that's where I think the research showing that taking these precursors is actually more effective than the NAD infusion or the injection. But again, that's just from the research. There's some anecdotal information from like Dr. Mark Hyman and some of these other guys who have done a lot of these things who said they did feel better, but only briefly because your body will burn up what's in your bloodstream pretty quickly. Anyone? No? I have one in the front up here.
Can the level of NAD plus be tested in our bodies?
Yes.
It's something that we could monitor in our blood work that's done when we go to the doctor?
I will tell you that yes, it can be measured. Will your insurance cover it? Probably not. This is not in your traditional blood panel. These are more things that a functional medicine doctor would explore with you. But again, functional medicine doctors generally aren't covered by insurance because they do things outside of the standard norm of care that you get from traditional medicine.
So we would have to specify that they check the NAD plus level?
You would probably even have to pay for that testing if they
Pay for it?
Yes. There's another website that's Mark Hyman, Dr. Mark Hyman. Anybody ever heard of him? Yes. He is part of an organization called Function Health, and you can pay, and they run, like it's 400 different tests that you will not get in your traditional blood work from your doctor. I think the cost is around $400. Don't quote me on that. For all of them, a lot of information, very informative stuff. If you can afford it, I would highly recommend it.
One other question, and it has to do with your statement that you made about NAD plus helps rejuvenate. The body does that naturally. I went through a treatment last year that had to do with rejuvenation, and the NAD plus came up in a conversation.
Okay.
But my question would be that the reason as we age, one of our big problems is the memory, the loss of our memory.
Yeah.
And I understand that that is caused by loss of brain cells in our brain. Does NAD plus help with that issue?
I would say it's certainly indirectly because your body has to have energy for anything that it does, right? So whether that's creating new neurological pathways, cellular regeneration, the lion's mane is looking more promising for the particular thing you're talking about right now. But the more NAD plus you have, the more your mitochondria turn into ATP, the more cellular energy you have overall. It's going to help with any function that the body needs to produce or create. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyone? Thoughts, concerns? Well, thank you guys for being here given this cold weather. I hope it was informative. If I left you just super duper confused, come up here and kick me and see if I can straighten it out. Thank you.
Mrs. Pure has a question.
Sure.
I was looking as the slides were flipping, and I didn't see it in the handout. But
Okay.
for example, under the NAD stuff,
Yeah.
one of the supplements they mentioned was True Knowledge.